I, Dr. Joseph Martin, again. This topic is predators, prey, and parasites. How to deal with vampires and zombies inside and around you. Well, what a great topic. It's a culturally wonderful bound topic of our times, but it is something throughout all time and all history. So, for instance, if we go back to the mineral world and the plant world, we know that lichen eats up rock and turns it into little granules. We know in the plant world and botany that there are saprophytic kinds of plants and fungi that feed off living trees or dead trees and eat them up and use their energy. We know in the insect kingdom that many insects feed off other insects, and certainly spiders with flies, and on and on and on. And also in the animal kingdom, we know that, as Joseph Campbell, my great friend and mentor, said, along with the animal kingdom and the human kingdom, every being and every species lives off killing and feeding other members of its own species or other species that are supposedly weaker. Well, this is just the way it is. But we don't have to consider this, as Darwin did, as the survival of the fittest. We need to consider that there is a way out and above and beyond this kind of patterning of society and individuals and species, particularly humans, to the survival of the most loving and kindest and empathetic. And that's what this consciousness revolution is all about. Okay, well, let's deal with these three different kinds or groups of human beings. We'll just deal with the human species for now, Homo sapiens. Sapiens, interesting, sapiens means wise, but how wise are we yet? Our wisdom intelligence, along with our emotional intelligence and our spiritual intelligence, is actually in a devolutionary stage. But there is a global consciousness waking up to bump it up to a quantum level so we can all just jump forward and move forward and evolve and grow. So, predators. Who are the predators? Well, you might be one yourself. If you've been predated upon, if you've been a prey of somebody else, whether you're a woman or as a woman or as a child or as someone of a different ethnic minority or a person of color or a gay or a lesbian person or a transvestite or bisexual or someone transgendered, then you probably have been the prey for somebody else's racism and prejudice, bullying, and so on. And of course, bullying is worldwide now. It's in every school and society and culture. In fact, we even have these seemingly nonsensical, non-related acts of violence where people on the streets of big urban centers just come up and punch somebody in the face and knock them down, and it's a game. Doesn't this remind you of some of the most important and popular stories, books, and movies these days? The Hunger Games. I'm sure all of you young people have looked at the Hunger Games and watched the movies. Well, if you actually do an anthropological analysis, a cultural analysis is what I want to do, of all the TV movies and the films from Hollywood, in fact from around the world, the central theme of all archetypes, of all movies for TV and for the cinemas and for books, is a predator-prey relationship. Predators are those who have no soul, at least it's not awake yet, it's buried and hidden deep inside, imprisoned. They have no life, they have no interest in life except to find prey, to prey on them, and they either kill them slowly or quickly, and they suck their energy, they steal their money, they steal their bank accounts, they steal their livelihood, they steal their personal identity theft. They steal just about anything they can, whether it's their carjacking, or clothes, or get into their homes and steal their valuables. They deface graves of other people from other ethnic religions. These are the predators of our world. Often we can see them in any and every level. They are sometimes doctors or nurses who've been taken to court now for killing children in hospitals. There was a case at Sick Kids Hospital in Toronto. On and on and on. I don't need to go into the details. They're in the injustice system, the ones who racially profile and imprison more and more First Nations peoples or blacks or women. They're in every society. And certainly in the global financial world and all the banks of the world, we find in recent years, particularly more with the outfall of all the mortgage lending in the States in 2008, which caused the economic worldwide depression we're in now, that these people, the bankers, we're not just going to say it's banks, it's only individuals who do this, who have actually stolen our money, stolen our wealth, and then we've had to repay as the public all the funds to give them great uh, banking um, money back to the bankers who stole all our money, and some of them get millions of dollars in benefits every year. Well, obviously, there's no sense of justice in this, but this is part of the human species and part of our reality. And so, what we need to do is look at the 96% of the populace of the world who are predators, um, and they are the ones, again, who have no life. Now, there are 4% of the population who are the kind, gentle ones who are obviously the second category or prey, but you may not be in the first category of the 96%, but you still are prey yourself. A prey is someone who consciously understands that they're prey or a victim, but they don't know what to do about it. And most of us are unconscious about being a prey. The first category, the vampires, we would call the predators or vampires. They're the one that steal energy and steal life. And of course, there's lots of TV shows and movies on vampires right now. I don't even need to mention them all. The prey are those who are preyed upon. And often it's the people who don't have the financial wealth, the power, the political or economic power, social prestige to do much about it. Again, it's all the people of minorities and people that are racially profiled and been prejudiced against since time immemorial in our society. So now the prey is the second group, and the third group would be the parasites. Now, they're the ones that aren't necessarily predators or psychopaths or sociopaths, like the first group that I'm talking about, the vampires and psychopaths, snakes in suits and in corporations and other places. And they're not necessarily the prey who are the ones who are preyed upon. The parasites are those who really don't care, they don't know, they don't want to know. They're really just they're bored, they're kind of bland, they're neutral, they're perhaps unawake, and so far, and they don't know what to do with their lives, and so they just kind of drift along without any compass, whether it's an inner psychological or spiritual compass or a moral compass. And in these groups, there are things that we need to look at that are very important, and that would be like, if you're in any one of these three groups, and I guess that includes all of us, doesn't it? And maybe sometimes each one of us, including myself, I understand that we can be, if we choose to be, any one or all of these three groups until we come to consciousness and decide to do something about it. And that's the substance of this introductory video that will be part of the I Am Self-Worth online coaching training program coming up and helping you deal with all your psychological and emotional issues. So the first thing is, what you can do is just learn to say no. Just say no to people who are trying to steal something from you, whether it's energy or bank accounts or personal identity or something. Just say no. And as you do that, you start to create healthy and stronger boundaries around yourself. When you start to do that, you start to gain a sense more of self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-worth, as if you matter. And of course, you're going to have to deal with your anger, sadness, and fear around all of this in order to evolve. Along with that, you need to speak openly and vulnerably about these issues with those you love and trust who are loyal to you, and create some loyal friendships and some groups, even just dialogue groups where you can just hang out and get together and talk openly about these very sincere and serious issues if you want to move forward and grow in your life. And beyond that, of course, you'll start to read some books. You'll start to reflect on this. You'll do some journal writing. You'll start to understand that we can move beyond this. We need to move beyond this. You know, we have predators who have killed many species on the planet, human predators who have destroyed the environment and destroyed most of nature by now, and they've just been predating and stealing and taking the water and the soil and the earth and the herbs and the plants and so on. And then you can realize that we can stand up and make a difference. So, in the immortal words in closing of our good friend Bob Marley, get up, stand up for your rights, just say no, take a positive stance, educate yourselves. This is all about self-knowledge, self-actualization, self-realization, and self-knowing that you can be the strong, open-hearted, kind, empathic, forgiving, loving soul of immortal, eternal life inside you. And I wish you all blessings and love on this path. I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Dr. Joseph, in and out, and onwards and upwards. All love.